from the schooner and appeared beside Sandy. "I've been working on short-distance transportation," Sandy said. Beth was off balance from the sudden transportation, and she teetered back and forth before falling on her ass. Unlike most MERCs, she refused to wear a uniform. She also refused to wear military-issue armor. Instead, she wore a ragtag ensemble of practical armor, function over fashion. Her hair was shaved nearly to her scalp, and she continuously scratched it. Scars covered her hands. After she got back up, she scrolled through her HUD, tossed her armor into her inventory, and selected a flattering one-piece vintage bathing suit. Her back, arms, and neck were also covered in scars and burns. Sandy took in Beth's bathing suit, envious in the way only friends can be when they see someone they care about looking that good. "Damn, Beth! When the hell did you go shopping?" Sandy asked. "Never pegged you for a thrift store chic kind of gal." Beth did her best 1940s pin-up pose, only to quickly lose her balance and fall again. She pulled a large-brimmed hat and sunglasses out of her HUD and sat down on the shore. "Yeah, I was going for Audrey," she said, as she pointed at her hair. "You know, get the whole look going, but I totally fucked it up. Still looks cute, though." Suzuki admired Beth from afar, trying to wrap his mind around the fact he was dating her. They'd spent so long as online friends that the revelation she was in love with him still felt too good to be true. He knew it wasn't a dream when she turned and waved at him to join them. Suzuki leapt off the boat into the water. When he'd first come to Midgard, he'd had a little bit of nerd pudge. He'd burned that off over the last month of adventuring. Now he was a tanned and toned version of himself that could have easily been one of his old VR avatars. He wore fairly light leather MERC armor, the standard look of a fighter or warrior, with the addition of several enhanced items and charms he had picked up along the way. Nothing flashy, but if you were to look closely, you would see that even his basic leather armor had been enchanted with a high degree of skill. It gave the exact impression Suzuki wanted: unassuming. No one would ever believe he was a walking powerhouse of well-thought-out tactical enhancements. It didn't take Suzuki long to reach the shore. He sat next to Beth and took her hand in his. The sun was at the perfect angle to brighten the sky but not blind them. The wind smelled great, and he felt like he could have sat there on the beach with his party all day. That was the last moment of comfort the Mundanes would share on the island for some time. Everything was very quickly about to go to shit. Whatever happened, happened fast. So fast, he didn't realize he'd been knocked unconscious until he woke up numb and unable to move. A voice beside Suzuki roused his attention. He tried to focus on it, but his head was very fuzzy. It felt like he had just woken up from a particularly long night of drinking. Yet he knew he hadn't. And he hadn't been out long since it was still daylight. In fact, the sun was beating down on him, and he desperately wanted something to drink. His mouth was so dry. The voice beside him was still talking. He blocked everything out and focused on the voice, on what it was saying. At first, it sounded as if it were an entirely different language. Gradually, the words started to make an impression. It was definitely English. It was Beth's voice. What she was saying didn't make any sense, though. Then, a few words got Suzuki's attention, and the rest of the words eventually caught up. "We've been drugged," Beth said. "Well, that explains why nothing fucking makes sense right now," Suzuki thought. The last few hours were a black spot. The last thing he could remember was getting off the boat and holding Beth's hand. Whatever had happened to get him drying out and unable to move under the cruelly hot sun had been forgotten in a drug haze. "Do you know how?" Suzuki asked. As Beth spoke, Suzuki tried to turn his head to face her. Whatever had been passed to Suzuki and Beth wasn't responsible for Suzuki being unable to move. He couldn't see, but he could feel. Something was pushing down on him, or, to be more specific, many little things were pressing down on him. It felt like he was trapped under piano wire. Beth was still talking, and Suzuki was having a hard time following. The closer attention he paid, the easier it was to string meaning out of the odd jumble of consonants and vowels. "We've been Gullivered," Beth sighed. "Like the whole fucking 9 yards. Although, I don't remember reading anything about him being drugged. He just fell asleep. Something came and got us. Don't know how it happened or when, but it couldn't have been too long after we got here. So, some kind of indigenous people group captured us." "Yeah, you could